what I would like to suggest is how society tries to act like your friend. And by this, I don't mean your most direct experience of society. I'm kind of suggesting to what the whole system is. In other words, I'm a person, I'm interested about systems, and therefore, because systems are somehow defined, we live in a world of definitions. Who is putting the definitions of what is the right action, and who is putting the definitions of what is the wrong action? You need to think about that and see if it's coming from an honest source. And I believe it's not coming from an honest source. I believe the person saying do these things are good and do these things are bad is someone saying do these things are good because they have nothing to do with me. Similar to how the shepherd takes the sheep and lets the sheep eat as much grass as they want. Therefore, we need to pay attention to how our minds are being affected by our own sense of certainty when there's many more doors we need to look behind. So, as we glimpse at society, I find myself an extension of it. I find that me as a human being brought up around Western culture and, that kind of media and what all that means, I've been brought up in a society, I have went through levels of education, I have envisioned a lot of productive structural expression in regards to the company and organizations I want to start, very healthy organizations. The reason I am pointing to this is because when you really think about how you can be rich in the system of life you're in, you need to really define that richness for yourself and see if it's really a rich life. For example, do you want to be extremely well known by every other human? Is that your inspiration for your movement? Or is it to help the planet? In other words, after we have acknowledged ourselves and humanity and everything, we need to acknowledge our planet. It's as if this awareness we have was first introduced, acknowledge that this is your body, and then again acknowledge that this is your name, and then acknowledge that these are other people, and acknowledge that this is the environment, and then acknowledge the sky. And then after you have acknowledged the sky, you see there's so much more to acknowledge existentially as an awareness here. Find your connectivity with Earth, because that is defining your richness. Any wealth that you have right now, if it is material, it is coming from the Earth. Really look at the Earth and see if there's any richness in it. You might be a person who thinks that trees are a nuisance when we can have streets. Others look at trees and look at nature and understand that it's the opposite. They are our cure. Not perhaps physically a lot, but our mental cure. Nature cures you mentally, cures you in any other way. It is the best drug. People don't need to take pharmaceuticals. People don't need to go and pay for medicine. You just need to interact with nature. Trust me, it'll make you healthier. It's a form of cleansing at the same time, energetic recharge of your presence. And do it. Go explore nature, and then understand who you are in the society that you're in, and who you want to be. Define the motivations you have for action. Really look at why you're motivated in this life, and if the motivation is towards a path that is really productive for the planet, not just yourself, not just anyone else. This is where humanity really connects, and every human begins to acknowledge that before we need to acknowledge the sky, we need to acknowledge the planet we're on. We really need to experience our planet in many different ways, and then we shall open up to a collective presence that then is much more capable of exploring um, other life forms on other planets, for example. You see, there needs to be a development of consciousness. Think about it. You just literally think about every person on Earth and tell me that we don't need to see more things. Like, there needs to be more awareness here. And when humanity really goes through that awareness, it goes through an integrative phase which develops into safe environments, mentally safe environments. If you have mentally safe environments, in other words, nothing that is changing or blocking your eyes, then there's more of a flow towards a greater outcome of all our existence in regards to where the earth is headed. If you want a job, any job, and you're one of those people who have to perhaps choose what kind of job you want, before choosing that job, ask yourself if I should spend my life helping to keep the earth abundant, or should I go contribute to a butterfly effect of, societal negative action? I guess I don't know how I would say it. As those ideas are juggled, you can perceive decisions from different worlds that are worlds apart. You see, our definitions usually create our problems. If you have a problem in your life, that's a creative process that has brought that forth, that expression, that reception, that insight, that knowing. As you walk around, you have a choice in your engagement with whatever. If you feel confident to the degree that you're like, nothing's bothering me, I'm totally fine, I could see the grass and the concrete, and I live very, capably, I contribute to both sides. Or you can be someone ignorant and totally not, someone who doesn't have a sense of planet. They literally don't have a sense that this is our planet, this is my planet, I'm taking care of it. This is my lifetime. I'm going to have a lifetime with good actions. I'm going to take care of it, for example, To take care of nature is really let it be in the way as if you are helping your family. When you really look at nature, you're always connected. Your love becomes more of an existential love rather than a story. And then literally your physicality feels better. You feel extreme amounts of joy with unknown expressive outbursts. It is a very beautiful experience. We are okay to explore ideas. We are free men. We can explore any idea we choose to, and we do not need to be caught in stories. Because there are many stories in the library. And there are many libraries in the city. We don't need to get caught in that realm. But to be playful with the stories. Therefore, if you were to if you wanted to, I feel the word is alleviate something that's bothering you, to rid yourself of a certain negative outcome you perceive, take my advice and look at the worst case scenario in your life where you're part in that. You can literally visualize the worst case scenario in your life right before it happens to you. Just visualize yourself being extremely playful with what comes and tell me what you experience, because it is a lighter feeling. A playful person is not caught up into the stories, is aware. Playfulness is awareness. Understand this. It doesn't have to be. It's existential awareness. That is why children, for example, energetically are more vibrant. To live playfully means you're keeping your certain energy bodies intact in a certain wavelength in which your awareness is expanding. That's why laughter is medicine, because laughter increases your awareness. awareness. You begin to see the truths that you believed are really actually part of the play. A theater performance, for example, and you were the best actor in that performance, so when you become aware of that, you slightly push it aside and get rid of that mental clutter and really look and align yourself with natural things, align yourself with the nature of existence, and then after you have aligned it, begin to look at what is the greatest idea you can contribute that will help humanity. If you want to look at your purpose, look at it like that. Do not just create for yourself an individual outcome, like you just want to be rich in a mansion or something. Don't create that kind of outcome. Understand that our lives, every single human being's life, should go in bringing more vision to other human beings, because other human beings are helping are the choices, are the ones getting affected by our choices. Therefore, after the mental clutter is pushed aside, feel yourself here, and with a very openness and a selfless glance, look at the stars and tell me what kind of action are you inspired. We need to, as humanity, as a human, every human being should advance his awareness to stars. Every human being should be motivated and inspired by the stars, literally, to get our civilization closer to even communicating with other beings. Literally, it will be like opening to a world where technologies can exchange, and we can literally explore consciousness. See, we as human beings need to be really aware of where we are to then be able to really become aware of what other extraterrestrial life forms are, and we need to know our place in that sense. And there are great profundities and insights that can be revealed to you in such a personal way that you cannot speak about it. They say spiritual people, certain back, especially in Eastern traditions, they never talked about it unless someone was ready. You just don't give someone an idea. For example, you don't talk about quantum physics to a 5-year-old, for example, or 3-year-old, whatever age that's unnecessary for that form of energetic idea to be given, to be pushed in that direction. So, as you visualize this, you need to appreciate your silence to a degree that you are honest with your silence. In other words, when you say, I'm not going to talk about something, you're not going to talk about it, for example. If you make a promise to someone, for example, I promise I won't do this, I promise I will do that, whatever, you need to stick to your silence and follow. You need to really let the thing steering your life to be really observed by you. Find out where you're being pulled. It's very easy. It's something very easy to look at. And always look at the stars. And if you don't have stars, or you're inside a house or something, literally go on Google and get a very HD desktop wallpaper of stars and look at that cluster. And tell me that our attention should be there, and we are like children, different nations fighting with another over nuclear toys. That is a very different. Our humanity is young. Humanity is not. We have deep roots, but we are young. In other words, as a certain form in existence, we're not that integrated and connected to become aware of greater planetary alignments. Let's say greater planetary communication. For example, what that means is that how can you, as a human being, as an individual person on Earth, really hear how the Earth is talking to, for example, some other star or planet or galaxy, How can you as an individual human hear what the Earth is receiving, the whole planet is receiving, what Gaia is receiving from her surroundings, from the sky? The planet has very unique energy sources. We just need to tap into it by extending our consciousness. We need to all head towards a collective, expressive presentation of our own presence. In other words, global peace is done because there's literally no past that can change it. When you're in the present, if every human being was in the present and they just looked at the stars, they looked around, they would unite. Okay, so work on your presence. Make sure that you're aligned with what you find to be natural and harmonious. What you find is an open space for you, an open space of thought as well. And with that, our inspiration is really a voice that echoes for future generations. Our action must be done from the present, and as the nature of existence is seen, then we will make our leap towards our higher eyes. Thank you for listening, and thank you for looking.